Hello, Kapil. If books are a waste of time, how do we acquire knowledge?
Well, you're taking my word for it that books are a waste of time. So if you say that if books are a waste of time, means that you're basically just believing me. So if you believe me there, then you're going to have to believe me all along the way, because none of it was your own experience. So I'm not going to enforce upon you that books are a waste of time. That's something that you have to recognize for yourself, and you may never recognize it, and you may find that books are helpful for you. So I'm not going to pigeonhole you into anything, but your very phrasing of the question means that it wasn't a real question, because you're basically just taking my word for it and asking me something to replace it with.
Oh, Mr. Kapil, just want to ask, why? I wonder why humans lose this battle with the mind. Like, you talk a lot about conquering the mind. I see, like, through years, enlightenment has been a scarcity. Only few individuals has been able to acquire it. It's not something for everyday people. And I sometimes...
Well, it can't really be any other way, because if you think about it very reasonably and very logically, I'm just going to use you, but it's not just you, it's every human being. Where do you live? You live in a society. What is society? Composed of common human beings. What do common human beings know? Nothing. What do they seek? Garbage. So if you live in a society of garbage and nothing, how can you possibly become enlightened? Now, that does not mean that you can't, because you may have the rarest form of DNA, which goes against everything that surrounds you, and walk away from everything that you hear. That's possible, but that's extraordinarily rare. So it isn't the rarity in the potential of a human being to become enlightened. The rarity lies in the fact that if one lives in a place of lies, and society and its experts and its minions and its gurus and its books and its media and every single thing which enters your ear as a lie, then those are the paths that you will necessarily or not automatically go down, the path of lies. That's why.
Hi, Kapil. Thank you for doing this. I don't know if this matters or if it's from the mind, but ever since I've been an adult, whatever I'm doing, I say, like, if I'm not going to be great at this, I won't do it. This was the reason I changed fields before, and this was before I found your work. But the new field has also been the same, so I've given up on that too. The thing was also not suitable for really being great, but I don't know how much of it is a factor. Anyway, I have this objection coming from me that the idea of working for 1 month so that just I can continue working for another, like that doesn't, I resist it. So I resist working, and I'm almost 25, but I still rely on my parents. So I say, for example, I want something scalable, and now I want to start a business. But on the other hand, I have been wasting time and continuing to making zero money, right? So
what's your question?
Yeah, I'm coming to it. So there's this narrative that I sabotage myself and I don't feel good enough. I'm not saying those are meaningful things, but everybody says that. I guess my question is, can something great be born out of like detachment to the societal way of doing things, or is it just a reaction, or how can I know if it's genuine?
Well, don't worry about it. I mean, if it's something that's visceral, and if it doesn't matter where it comes from. If it's something that's very visceral inside of you, and it speaks to you and it moves you, then I think that means more than trying to intellectualize it and make sense of it. There's so many things. In fact, the vast majority of things in this world you're not going to understand. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about just any human being. So go by the feeling.
Thank you.
Hi, Kapil. Do you think that is harder now than it was in the times of Musashi or in the Buddha to reach eternal bliss?
Well, I think it was always hard because people are always people. So from the standpoint of people being people, I don't think it's any different. But given what today's times provides in terms of distractions, from that sense, I would say yes, definitely.
Is there anything about a human being that is not conditioned if that human being was born in society?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter that you're going to try to go on this fishing expedition to find out what wasn't conditioned, because the fact of the matter is, whether it's 98% or 100%, what's the difference? Really, the money lies in understanding the fact that one's conditioned, rather than looking for the needle in the haystack for where one is not, because he's probably not going to find it anyways.
So if I'm moving into a new kind of topic or area that I want to become an expert in or improve at, you've said in the past not to do it, but not following prescriptions.
Well, I don't think I ever said not to do it.
Sorry, you didn't say that. I know. It's more so around prescriptions will slow you down and stop you from becoming world class and become a crutch. And I'm just curious if there's a new topic, whether it's like YouTube ads, for example, that I want to get really, really good at. There's people who are way more experienced, way better than me, who've been doing it for a long time. Would kind of like following their advice and teaching them slow me down from becoming great, or should I just go out on my own straight away and try and figure it out?
Well, I mean, the more mechanical something is, you can prescriptionize it. If it's just it's a filling in an application or a do this or a do that, but there's no art there. I mean, so you're just going to become yet, the 1,000,000,001th person who creates YouTube ads. I mean, there's no inspiration there. You can do it if you want. The more useless something is, the more prescriptions will work.
Hello. I have a quick question for you. Is it possible to be immune to something while also enjoying it?
Don't ask these like abstract. Ask what you want to ask. Don't dress it up in these abstract like riddle type things. Ask what you want to ask.
I hear that joy is a crutch for freedom. So I'm unsure if I enjoy something, if that's a pleasure, if it's just actual delight or inspiration.
I still don't understand the question. What do you really want to get at?
I'm trying to figure out a way to directly ask, is joy real? I guess that's the question that is most clear.
As opposed to what? What are you suspicious of?
Happiness. So I guess
you're saying happiness and joy are two different things. I'm still having a hard time. I mean, talk in second grade. Mm-hmm. Just get down to second grade. Ask what you want to ask.
Are joy and happiness different experiences themselves?
And what if they were or weren't? So what? How would that?
I'm not interested in being in states that are false.
And you're interested in what then?
Actual bliss.
Okay, so basically, everything that everybody knows and does and chases is pleasure. They chase pleasurable things and pleasurable experiences, but bliss is. Without turning the name into a god, these things are not something that you go out into the world and attain and then put it in your pocket or a feather in your cap and say, I got it. These things come through realizations. And so the more genuine and the closer to truth the realization is, the higher the chances that it's going to be something frivolous. Mm-hmm. And the more it's something that you try to practice and do or meditate or mindfulness or did something to try to get, the virtual guarantee it is that it's going to be frivolous and fleeting and the thing that you're not looking for. So everything is about understanding and realizing. And the realizing comes from, or at least it becomes possible, when the individual is more interested in realizing than he is in wanting a pick-me-up or a bumper sticker or a how-to or a latest guru phrase.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hello, Kapil. A common sentiment that I hear is that people want to be free to do what they want. And as much as that makes sense, the way that I see it is that's the only thing that I do is what I want. And which seems to me just to be another form of slavery. If I'm incapable of doing the things that I don't want and only doing what I want, that doesn't seem like freedom. However, people act like they do things that they don't want, and it's just another way of doing what they want, right? Because they want this image of themselves that they can do hard things or whatever. Does that exist to be able to function from a place that is not based on only doing what is within the realm of your wants, or am I misguided?
Yes,
no.
That exists. That exists. But it's correct to say that doing what you want is not really freedom. Now, it is freedom relative to someone completely and utterly telling you what to do. So yes, it's freedom in relation to that. But if one is looking for freedom with a capital F, then no, that has nothing to do with freedom. And is it possible to have that kind of freedom in one's life? Yes, it is.
Oh, hello. So I'm struggling with alone versus the human need for connection. A bit of context. I've been alone since a child. More or less like to isolate myself. It's also my way of seeing the world is more original. But at the same time, I see a much deeper pain of a desire for being connected. And I'm wondering, isn't that just a fundamental human need? And I know you talk a lot about this independence of thought of being alone in the world. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
When I talk about being alone in the world, and those are just the facts, but they are not recommendations. So I would never tell you that. I would never tell you that you should overlook your need for human connection, because that's obviously very strong within you. And so if it's strong within you, this is where like the world falters, because it'll tell you to do something that's against your nature. So whatever you're feeling inside with regard to connection with other human beings and socialization and whatever it may be, then that's just what it is. Now, will that get you to truth? No. But so what? That's not what you really want. Nor should it be. There's no downside here. There's no thou shalt. Right? So if that's what you feel, then that's how you feel about it. There's nothing really more to say. It's just the fact that truth is a solitary journey. Now that isn't relative and that isn't conditional. That just is that way. But that's irrelevant for you because you feel the need for, as you called it, connection with other people.
Yep. Thank you.
Hey, Kapil. Here's my question. As a founder and builder, I have this intense drive or ambition or desire to build. This ambition or desire has proven to be intense enough over the years to keep me both focused and successful, but in times not quite enough to remain consistent. Is this lack of consistency a lack of seriousness, or I guess, how do I achieve that level of consistency that I desire? Because I do what I must and I'm successful, but not at the level of the greatness that I would, I guess, desire.
And your question is, how do you become great?
Yes.
Well, I baited you into that one because that's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you a how to become great thing, mm-hmm. Right? So what do you, consistency?
It's just that there have been moments, right? Because like I am what I am and there are these moments of greatness, but then there's just moments, and I know myself enough, and I have worked hard enough, and I've been focused enough to know that there is this deep-seated desire, for the lack of the word, that exists and that has made me achieve whatever I have. But then there's just this lack of consistency, and I can't quite put my finger on why is that. Is this just lack of seriousness and this just comes when it comes, or is there not a way to cultivate, but is there anything that can be done?
Well, there's a truth to all of these things, but that truth comes from a systematic examination and an exposure to what those truths are for a given human being's situation. So I don't know you, so there's no clean answer that I can give to you as to how to pursue that. But I can tell you cleanly that wherever someone is and whatever they're seeking, there is absolutely a truth to get exactly what they're seeking. That much I can tell you.
How can I start? We all know that we can't change anybody else, right? We can only change ourselves, our perception, our thoughts, our way how we think about what happened already or what's going to happen. But because we are not an only living individual on this planet, and we are always in contact and in touch with other people, even if, or especially if there are people who damaged something in us, in our soul, or hurted us in whatever way ever. Yes, we can turn the back and we can change ourselves. But what about if this what happened is still with us in our head? How can we get rid of this?
So you seem to be new. You seem to be new here.
Yes.
So that's fine. Whatever I'm about to say is not going to resonate with you because anyone who comes here needs to have some sort of vetting and some sort of introduction and some sort of exposure to the things that I've written. Otherwise, they won't understand anything that I say.
Okay.
So it isn't about changing yourself or changing anybody else. It's about learning the truth. And there really is nothing about you trying to get rid of the bad memories of the bad things that have happened to you or to anybody else. It really has nothing to do with those things. Those are therapy-related questions, and they don't go anywhere. Nothing is solved through therapy. There's no cure there. There's just a swirling of muddy water. So everything really comes down to learning the truth about who a human being really is, what the memories really are, and where one's resentments come from and where they don't come from. It's about the root of things. It isn't about the doing of anything. And it isn't about the acceptance or the forgiveness or this or that. It's about basically all the things that you have heard are lies. Not because you want them to be, but it's because they are. So the truth is something that is completely and utterly opposite and in completely the other side of the world from all the things that society has told you. So there's no change. There's no change. There's no changing yourself. There's no changing anybody else. All of these things are a road to nowhere. You will run down that road again and again in circles and circles and circles for the rest of your life. It is all about understanding the truth.
Even though I don't know much about truth, thanks to your work, I'm at least able to feel that all of my life is a lie, and in many ways it has unburdened me. But at the same time, I also have nothing to look forward to except for putting more fires off every day. And while I have a job for subsistence, I can see that I'm just an average person at my skill level, and I'm never going to get anywhere. And and thanks to your work, I don't feel happy or sad about it at least, but still there's an anxiety about I'm going to waste this life and I cannot do anything about it. Is this the innermost anxiety that underlies all humans? Thank you.
No, I don't think so. I think, for somebody else, it's a detail. For somebody else, the anxiety could be that they are fearful that they may not arrive at the truth or get to their goal or whatever it is. You've already stated that you are not going to get there in whatever your and that's just a question of what one really wants. There's no negative or positive to that. So is that most people's anxiety? No, because the fact is the overwhelming majority of human beings, virtually 100%, don't even realize that they're wasting their lives. They don't even realize that there's something else. All they know is whatever society and its experts and its media and propaganda has told them. That's their whole life. So they aren't even aware of the fact that life is being wasted and all of these things. And that's not a good thing or a bad thing. That's just is the way it is. So to answer your question, is the anxiety that you're feeling the nature of most people's anxiety? The answer would be no.
Hi, Kapil. I wanted to ask, how do you seek and find a mentor in your life? Is it even necessary?
Mentors, I don't think that you're going to be ready for this answer. But mentors have no place in anything.
Hi, Kapil.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Okay. I'm not sure if you heard what I just said.
No, I did hear that. So they're not necessary. That's what you. But why?
No, I'm not saying that they're not even relevant. But like I said, because you asked that question, for me to make a statement which goes against the very premise of your entire foundation of your question is not going to sit well with you. You may chew it over, but it's not going to be something that is going to be at this time. You're not looking for the answer to is mentorship helpful or not. You're looking for the answer to how do you find one. So therefore, my question is not really going to do a lot for you. My response is not going to do a lot for you.
Okay. So is it even necessary to find one, or we can just tread through our own experiences and learn from it?
Well, I mean, you may want to read. I think I did a discourse on this. I think it's a public discourse. I think it's on the website. You may want to plug in mentors and my name in Google and see if you can pull it up. Because I know I did a discourse exactly on this topic, and to see if that may or may not help you in any way.
Sure. Thank you. Definitely will read.
I have a quick question. Not sure if it was asked before, but what exactly is truth and how I can live every day and integrate it as part of my life?
Truth is the devotion to truth.
Hi. So I got divorced about 6 years ago, and I have 2 kids with this woman, and I find myself unable to let go of her and of the situation. And I'm wondering, what's the truth behind? Like, I don't know what the deepest version. Like, I don't know how deep to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that I can answer that without knowing the whole situation. And I mean, I can't just say you should think this or do that. I'm sorry about your troubled situation, but there's really nothing that I could give you that wouldn't be. It would be a shot in the dark, and it would be empty because there would be no context to it.
Okay.